How is everyone doing tonight? As I promised earlier today, I'm here with our 8 o'clock update for Hurricane Irma, and I'll show you guys where it stands, sort of what we can expect, what the models are showing as usual. And then I have a couple other things that I got requested to do, so I'll add those into this video as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start, and we're going to look here at the National Hurricane Center, and as of 8 p.m. on Monday, so today, Hurricane Irma was a Category 4 hurricane. Now, this happened probably around 6 o'clock. It made the jump from Category 3 to Category 4. And as you can see here, 140-mile-an-hour winds, central pressure of 943 millibars, and moving now west. This is key now, west at 13 miles per hour. That means the southwesterly turn that the storm had taken has now leveled out, and the storm should start moving more northwestern soon now. So if we click here, we're going to see the hurricane is tracked now. Here's Irma, located right here at 8 p.m. And as you can see, there are areas here in the Leeward Islands, the Lesser Antilles down here, Puerto Rico. And what we see here is that the Leeward Islands are under hurricane warnings, Puerto Rico is under a hurricane watch, and excuse me, parts of the Lesser Antilles are under a tropical storm watch. Now, the reason for the tropical storm watch is because the hurricane force winds of a hurricane are only concentrated in a relatively small spot in comparison to the storm. So, you'd want to say we have, a 200-mile wide hurricane. The hurricane force winds in that might only extend out about 30 miles from the center of the storm. So from there out, you're going to have tropical storm force conditions, which is why we have a mixture of tropical storm and hurricane warnings. It doesn't have anything to do with the storm strength, unless you're of course doing a tropical storm, then you're going to get only tropical storm force advisories. So as you can see here with the track, so they have planned out here up until 2 p.m. on Saturday. You can see they have it sitting generally north of Cuba, and that's where a lot of the models have been taking it. And that's what it's been showing for the last 2 days, I want to say now. But the model actually looks very similar to, or excuse me, this graphic here looks very similar to what the NHC was showing us almost 2 days ago in relativity to where the storm is going to go. And this doesn't really, we have to take this all with a grain of salt because we still don't know what's going to happen after we get past about this point right here, because the storm can either go more northward or go south, and hence the diameter of the cone. So what I'm going to do here now is we're going to go take a look at the models, like we always do. And as you can see, as of 8 o'clock, don't worry about this, this is in European time. So over here, because this is the European model, over here, it would be Irma sitting about 8 o'clock. Now, if we fast forward here with the European model, we see it move Puerto Rico right here. This is the Leeward Islands and the Lesser Antilles down here. So this will be by Wednesday, the storm is sitting here. This is all relative to, I mean, there were old estimates saying that the storm could be there Tuesday afternoon. It could speed up, it could slow down. We don't know. It's currently moving about 13 miles an hour, which has been fairly consistent with what it's been doing over the last 3 days. So we'll see about that. And as you can see, it'll take a more westerly course, then jump to the northwest, kind of graze Puerto Rico here. And I say graze, but there's still going to be a lot of wind and a lot of rainfall in Puerto Rico. So if anyone here is watching is in Puerto Rico, you really need to be prepared. This is a Category 4 hurricane. Even the outer skirts are going to be stronger than anything that you're really used to. Now, as you can see here, it skirts off past Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic and Haiti, sitting right here, skirts off to the north of there, according to the European model, then moves north of Cuba, a little south of the Bahamas here, before riding up the Cuban coast between Miami and Cuba, and then taking a hard right turn here. Very hard right turn, which is not uncommon with hurricanes. We've seen them in the past, kind of stop on a dime and turn around. We've had them do loops and just curve back. The atmosphere allows hurricanes to do a lot of crazy things. So if we look here, we see right here be Miami, and that would allow it to really ride up the U.S. coast if it follows this. as you can see, it would ride the Florida coast. And really, this is a very similar track, location-wise, to Hurricane Matthew. And if you remember what Hurricane Matthew did to the Jacksonville area, you can kind of imagine what would happen here. And that's really the main concern right now. Is this a stronger storm possibly when it would get here than Matthew? So the effects could be slightly worse, or we could get nothing. Like I said, it's too early to panic because we don't know where it's going. And if you look here, it shoots off into the middle of the US and dissipates rather quickly, as they usually do when they hit the mountains. Now, if we go to the GFS model, so the American model, this is 12 Wednesday. You see how much farther north the storm here. Oh, excuse me, this is wrong. There I go, messing up the models again. So you see Irma here. If I go back a little more, this takes it slightly more north of Puerto Rico than the Euro model, slightly more into the Bahamas, before dropping about even where the European model had it, and taking a very similar right turn. Except here, it's in the state. The GFS model has Irma kind of coming up the central part of the state, maybe slightly more on the eastern side, and you can see because it's so close to the water, it doesn't really weaken all that much, and that would allow it to come right up the state into the Jacksonville area as a very powerful hurricane. And this has been something the GFS model has been showing all day so far. And like I said, it's too early to take all this with a grain of salt. We won't know till probably about Friday exactly how likely impacts are here at the latest. Now this over here is another system that the National Hurricane Center, I said earlier today that it wasn't a high chance. Well, now the National Hurricane Center has this at about an 80% chance of formation, but as you can see out here, it's not expected to have any impact on land and just rebound back out well, actually, I say that this is a newer update here. It kind of does, this is a perfect example here. Look at all the weird stuff the atmosphere can cause these storms to do. Watch the curve that happens here. I mean, it does a loop, comes all the way back down before looping off again. It's and don't look into that too much. It could the consensus is that's just going to curve back out to sea. No one's really worried about that yet. So overall, I think Matthew, Irma is going to, for what we know so far, it's probably going to move into the Leeward Islands, slightly north of Puerto Rico, but after that, there's a lot of discrepancy on where it goes. It could ride the Dominican and Cuban coast, or it could go up through the Bahamas and sort of, do, I like to say, do what it's going to do, because we really just don't know. And, there's a couple models now that have it kind of, I know you've probably seen them kind of come up through here and do this and, into Houston again. In my opinion, I don't see those as likely options at all. I think the more likely option would be staying slightly off the coast and doing what most hurricanes do and curving up the coast. And that's probably the most likely scenario to me at this point. So earlier today, I got a request from someone to show come up with a list of essential supplies that are necessary for preparing. Now, so I went ahead and compiled that. So one of the main things you're going to get, I know I mentioned this earlier, is water. Water is always an essential. You're always going to want to need water. Next up is non-perishable foods. I'm almost 18 years old, and goldfish is still the way to go if you need a snack or need something in a pinch. Pop-Tarts are always good. Soups are always good, provided you don't lose power. Flashlights, in case you do. Candles, batteries. Portable phone chargers are never a bad option to have in case you lose power. That way you can stay in contact with people for a longer amount of time. And one of the main things that you're going to want to get is a battery / wall plug-in weather radio. Noah sells these at Walmart for about $20 at most, I believe I've seen. So what you're going to want to do, guys, is just take a picture of this list, make sure you have all your bases covered, and check back tomorrow. Possibly around 8 p.m. will be the only time I'll be able to make a video because I have a track meet tomorrow. But until then, I'll see you guys later.